Oh wait, where was the music? Did that already go?
It's playing.
I love that part. You
gotta-
have to.
We're getting down to the music.
We're good. It's done.
Oh, it's done. All right.
Friction and smoke.
Friction and smoke.
Wayne, our guest, our special guest. How do you say your last name?
Laybourn.
Laybourn.
Or Laybourn if you're talking to the girls.
Laybourn. Like Simon Laybourn from...
If it's the 80s and you're trying to impress people.
So our... Nice, I love it. So our guest tonight,
This is
Wayne...
episode 5, right?
Episode, 5? I don't know. They're stacking now.
Yeah. So
Shit,
episode 5.
5.
Yeah. Our guest, Wayne Laybourn.
Laybourn.
So one of my jiu-jitsu brothers, very talented artist, graphic artist,
going.
video game artist.
Keep going.
UK transplant to the US of A, yeah.
Yep.
And anything else? Anything else? Family man, all around great guy.
Just a great guy. Don't swear much.
Doesn't swear much.
Definitely.
One of the funniest motherfuckers I know.
Got a weird arm. That's all I can think of.
Oh, he does have a weird arm. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
How that happened. That's the judo story, right?
Yeah, I'm going to make some shit up after I saw Ben's podcast. So just make it all sound a bit better.
Perfect. So, man. Well, let's start just how we met.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, yeah.
I don't
Do
really
you remember?
No. All I remember was I decided I was CrossFitting a lot. Kind of really uncomfortable.
I mean, I could totally tell you how me and Wayne met, since you guys don't remember that.
Did you guys meet before now?
We met about an hour ago or
Oh,
40 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no,
Almost remember it.
so
Wayne forgot.
I was CrossFitting a lot. My knee was totally jacked up. My body was getting beat up from CrossFit. And so I decided jiu-jitsu was going to be easier on my body. Huh. Yeah, it's real smart, right?
Yeah.
So I found a jiu-jitsu school nearby, SEMA, which also does other martial arts. And I just walked in there one day and said, I want to train. I want to do jiu-jitsu. And I think you, Carl, and a couple of the other core crew were there and with welcoming arms, choked me readily.
We're probably down to a small...
Yeah, it was a small crew
time,
then.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just the Brady Bunch, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where we met. Now, what are we, 5 years later, 5.5 years later from knowing each other?
Oh, yeah, at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't quite remember it, but I know I probably was like, oh, fuck. There's a big dude with tattoos. This is going to be bad. But
I was so bad, though. I was so bad
we
at
all are.
He he was smaller then, though, right?
Yeah, I was smaller. I put on some weight since I've known you guys.
He's like 40 pounds smaller.
Not quite that much smaller. I was like...
He was like a small child.
I was like a baby. I rolled into SEMA. I was probably like 175. Now I kind of float between 200, 195, somewhere like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But this isn't about me. This is about Wayne. Laybourn.
More comfortable for me if we talk about you.
So thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Whatever episode this is, I'm not exactly sure what we've done, but I wanted to have you on because it's just I always got a kick out of you and thought you had an interesting story, and so I wanted to share it a little bit and honestly learn a little bit more about you.
All right, see what happens.
This
might be a short podcast. Might be the shortest one you've done.
That's okay. We're trying to make them shorter.
We're trying to make them shorter, man.
I got you covered.
Every time I get done with one, I send it to my wife and I say, you should listen to it. And she's like, Phil, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes again. Like, can you just tighten it up? She's very critical of how long my podcast has been, but it's fair critique.
It flies when it's interesting, though.
It is. It does. It does.
It does. You guys want to hear something very interesting?
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me. So I figured I should share it with you before we get too gone.
Yeah.
So my birthday is on Sunday, right?
That's right. Happy birthday.
Wait, is that the 28th?
Yeah.
That's when my birthday is.
What? Are you fucking kidding me?
No, yeah. June 28th. Yay!
June 28th.
Get out of it.
Happy
Phil.
birthday.
Yeah.
I'm not
Fuck
even.
off.
Yeah, get it.
Fuck it.
This is the birthday episode.
I just got COVID because the
Wallace,
birthday
Gromit,
episode.
and fuck off, Phil.
Yeah. That's my birthday Sunday, too.
I didn't know.
That's awesome.
I didn't know your birthday was coming too.
Yeah.
Dude.
Now you got to go out and get 2 things.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I got you Guinness special edition, man. I'm even drinking one with you.
Well, so my mom's birthday is tomorrow. And she sent me my book of Bible promises for my birthday.
Okay.
I've never had I've never had a little
That's the smallest book I've ever seen.
smallest book I've ever seen. Also.
Or you're a giant, one or the other.
I know. So especially with my big hands, it looks like.
And it's got little, what's it got in it? Like just little,
Oh yeah,
little
just
verses.
little
and-
verses.
that's cool.
That will keep you online, though. That will keep you like,
Yeah, it helps. I can put it in my wallet.
Cheat sheet for life right there.
Yeah.
Just pull it out when you need it.
Yeah,
I need
so
a little Bible.
I pull it out
book.
when I'm like, oh, I should buy this, and I'm like, nah.
It keeps you from making bad decisions, like
It
at the
does.
strip club. You're about to pull your ones out, and then all of a sudden you pull your little book of
And
Bible
then I'm
promises.
like, oh, actually, and I'm like, hey, let's go over the Bible together.
They really like that.
Everybody needs something at hand that they can look at for a little bit of guidance.
Oh, Wayne. So let's start with Wayne. Where did it start with you, Wayne?
It started on June 28th.
Started June
28th?
28th.
Yeah,
June 28th.
1973.
1973. Oh,
Yeah.
you're younger than me.
That's right, Phil.
That's right. I forgot that. That's not nothing.
It's the mileage, not the years, though. That's the problem.
I remember you said that to me when I first met him when we were
Mileage, not
yeah,
the years.
when we were in our courting phase before we decided to roll together.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how old each other were.
No, you're kind of old and healthy. I'm young and rickety as fuck compared to you.
Dude, this guy's built. He's like made out of like rebar and steel cable. Like guy grabs you, you can't break his grip. He's elusively strong. Wayne is.
That's funny. I remember I had someone in my guard once, got legs wrapped around him, and they were like, I can't, it might have been you, I don't remember. This, you said, I can't open your legs. And I was like, I can't open them either. They were just like, I think I get strong in certain positions because I
Dude.
just atrophy there. I can't move. I lock up.
No, he's
That's just where we
shockingly strong. Like you just, you know, what I love about Wayne is like he can go to a jiu-jitsu place and they're gonna assume, oh, he's an older guy, he's probably not that strong, and so then you have a good time. When I go to a jiu-jitsu place, I'm not nearly as strong as I look, and so I just get hammered on by strangers. Yeah, it's like
It's different, right? If they see like someone who's not a threat,
yeah.
it just goes a different way than if someone like when we're in Iceland,
Yes.
people looked at you differently.
Yeah.
Like people come out and pick me out there. Like, oh, look at that.
Little
That
do they
little
know
noodle
he'll choke
over
the
there.
shit out of you with like his robotic vice grip.
Oh man, I definitely have it the same way Phil
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
I always,
Probably worse
I
because the
always get the
tattoos
kid.
too.
Oh man, and there's always one kid who's like, I feel like every jujitsu, I guess gym or dojo or whatever that I've been to, there's some kid you could tell he's like the street kid that they're trying to help out. And he's like, oh, that guy. And then he tries to prove himself with me. Next thing you know, he's like throwing his whole weight. I'm like, oh, not again.
Yeah.
That happens.
Like, man, because I like to be, I'm super mellow with it.
Right.
And so I like to start slow. And then, you know, when
Yeah.
Speed up towards the end.
speed up towards the end. And then, yeah. But they just,
Guys come at you hard. Yeah.
It's interesting, all that sort of psychology
Yeah.
of that. And I remember too once, I can't remember who it was, but there were two new guys who came in, and I remember one was all like happy, like, hey, everybody, you know, talking, and you're like, oh, that's a nice guy. And then there's another guy who sat there just like brooding, not saying much, and you're like, oh, that guy looks like an asshole.
He's a murderer.
But then you go roll with him,
yeah.
and the happy guy's like, oh, fuck it. Like, you know, trying to bend your fingers back and put his thumbs in your eyes and stuff. Like, he's actually not a nice guy.
That's
And
a
the other
word.
guy who's just sort of brooding or whatever, like,
Yeah.
he's a nice dude. Like,
just
it's
respectful
sorta-
and just,
yeah,
You just never know, man.
you just don't know. Like,
mean,
you have to take people by what they do, not how they look and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So,
It is such a weird
story of my life.
Yeah, totally. Exactly.
For everybody else.
For sure. Yeah, such a funny, weird modality, you know, we're going in and grappling with somebody that you've only met for like a class maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
And then just beating the hell out of each other or not,
Yeah.
depending. So
that said, I would love I wouldn't mind a few days in a big ass body and a bunch of tattoos. That would be awesome. Just see how it feels. My dad was covered in tattoos.
was he really?
Yeah, he had them on his fingers, hands.
I had no
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah.
Was he a blue collar guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, working class. So yeah, he had. I mean, my sister are different. My sister's a bit more. She just does her thing. Like,
Yeah.
she's full on rebel. And I think my dad at one point had said, if you ever get tattoos, you know, I'm gonna be mad or whatever. You know, so even though, you know, he's been dead 20 years, still don't have tattoos. You know, but my sister's like, oh yeah, watch this.
So she's
And
all tatted
yeah,
up.
she's all tatted up.
Nice.
And my dad had him, you know, he had him he had them way back in the day, though. I think when it was, I don't know, it was a bit more hardcore. I think maybe back then or something. And
No, I think it was.
He had them on his hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't see Wayne.
I see.
oh yeah, you want?
I kept.
It's touching my mic post.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried to get them off his hands and stuff like that.
Like removal?
Eventually. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I think, just as my mom got into sort of better jobs and they would go out on these company things, they'd wear a shirt and then,
Got it.
But I don't know. I thought they were cool as fuck. I loved it. Like, because we moved from like a real rough neighborhood to like a better one.
Yeah.
And my dad was always young compared to everybody else's,
Right.
old dads. And I got this like young dad,
It's tattooed and
tats.
gnarled. Yeah.
Like, I just thought it was like best thing ever.
That's amazing.
Still do. Yeah.
Sorry, sound thing. Would you just move your mic a little closer?
Oh yeah.
Keep it about a,
Like you're working on something.
Yeah. Well, hey, yeah, right there. I think like fist,
How's that?
So,
fist, tears.
fist.
okay, yeah, just a little closer because you're.
Yeah.
So, I actually did. I don't know if we've talked about this, but I did some removal
Oh, that's right.
right here.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did like 6 sessions, and the way I would describe it is if somebody got if they put a thumbtack in a rubber band and stretched it out to space and then dropped it on your face like that.
And then keep doing it.
It's like, yeah.
It hurts way worse than the actual
Oh my
tattoo,
gosh,
right?
That is literally what I thought happened to me.
Yeah.
It just felt like a
That's what I heard. I heard it's like a rubber band snap
and you can
over and
smell
over
it.
again. Whack,
You
whack,
can
whack,
smell
whack.
it too, and it's just
Yeah.
it's
But
gnarly.
then it comes off. Like my dad, I think had one on his hand taken off, and it was a like big ass scar and stuff on there. And then another one he tried to rub off, like Gattaca or something. Like he was just
I love that
went
reference.
old school, and he was just getting it off himself. Like
I love that reference because Gattaca, I just watched the other night with Heidi. She had seen it, but she forgot about it.
someone was rubbing himself.
Yeah,
with
because
pebbles and
he's
stuff, right?
basically faking that he's somebody else, and he can't have any of his DNA present, at his workplace or somebody's
Right.
apartment. Like he's got a heart defect, but he's faking like he's this,
Yeah, so you can get to another planet.
so he could get on the rocket ship.
Yeah, my dad was just trying to rub it off.
He went Gattaca with his.
Yeah, I went Gattaca on it.
It's hilarious.
I did 6 sessions, and they're still kind of there.
Yeah. How many do they say it would take?
10 at least.
Fuck.
Yeah, and it's expensive.
Yeah. It costs more than a tattoo. It hurts more than a tattoo.
Yeah.
Takes more time than a tattoo.
That's what it's called, stupid tax.
Is
That's what
that-
you get.
yeah.
Yeah, it's your stupid tax. You make a stupid decision, you got to pay tax if you want to remove it.
Oh my God.
You could go Gattaca on it and get
Yeah. let's just pin him down and
just grind it with a pebble.
Well,
Yeah.
now that I realized I'm not ever going to be back in that frame of mind, most likely. I
Yeah.
don't see myself doing corporate business anytime soon, ever again. So now that I feel like that again, I'm probably just going to go bigger.
You think so?
Yeah.
You're gonna get more?
Yeah.
More on the face?
I'm going to put friction and smoke.
There you go. That's right. Or just put Wayne. Like Wayne.
Yeah, Weird Arm Wayne, right on the
Right.
Weird Arm Wayne or something. You can always take it off later.
Yeah.
Well, you can try.
You can try. Okay, so we got into your dad a little bit. Well, let's start from the beginning. So you grew up where?
Sheffield.
Sheffield,
it's
which is
North
where's
England.
that in North
like
England?
if you went to London,
Yeah.
went 3 hours north.
Okay.
that'd be Sheffield. Yeah,
And what's the vibe in Sheffield? Is it like working class? Is it
working class. Like it's got a mix, but my version of it, it's kind of it is what you know, right? So my version of it is working class. A lot of steel works. My dad was a slaughterman and stuff.
So he slaughtered animals.
Yeah, my mom was a cleaner at the start.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a neighborhood called Arborthorne, which I actually just looked it up. I was thinking, man, I should look back at this stuff.
Sure.
And was it really that bad? And I went to my old address actually. This was just the other day on Google. You can go there, and I was like, man, where is it? Like it was just like grass. Like, I must have got it wrong. Like, this is where I grew up. This place, Egerton Crescent, Arborthorne. And it's just like grass, but there's that history thing sometimes when you go to Google Maps.
Right.
And I pulled it back, and it was like, boop, and the house appeared. And that led me to like look into it. And I guess the crime was so high in that area, and the houses were so effed up that they just tore it all down. And it's just like a field now.
No kidding.
So it was pretty bad, I guess.
They turned your neighborhood into a field.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Because I was thinking back about it. It's like, man, when we growing up there, like I remember I would come out and there'd be like a burnt out car on the grass, and you're like, was that there? But I think it was like. And then I looked up the area. I put it in like Manatop, Arborthorne, and the first thing that came up was like an article for like a Sun newspaper or something like that, one at local tabloids, and it was like they were doing like a weekly series of the 10 no-go crime zone areas, where the cops don't go.
Yeah. Oh,
so I think it's actually probably got worse, but that's how that's. And when you're a kid, you don't know any of that stuff. But just looking back, I'm like, oh, it's probably pretty rough.
Wow.
It's so interesting because this has come up a lot at work lately. Because when I tell people that I just bought a house in Hilltop, Tacoma, obviously it's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, you're moving to the hood. You're like,
yeah.
And it's funny because when you grow up like in areas where, especially in areas of poverty or anything else, you're just comfortable everywhere.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, it couldn't have been that bad. And then you look back at it and people are like, no, those places are terrifying.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
just get like
it's just what your normal is, right?
Yeah. And I was thinking about it like because you'd sent me that text, what are some of the
some pivotal moments.
And this not really a pivotal moment, but I was thinking like I feel like that's one of my advantages that I've had. Like, especially when you get into this arty-farty kind of job and workplace I'm in,
right.
where people gone through Arts Center in California and these people haven't worked a day in their life.
Just brought up soft, right?
Yeah, like the having that sort of working class background and stuff just has helped me out with everything, really. I mean, just having that attitude and stuff, because you kind of the only way is up.
Yeah.
So it's kind of made me. I was thinking about it on the drive over here, with like just changing jobs and all that stuff. Like I've always been pretty fearless, not with like scrapping or any manly things, but definitely with like jobs or career. I just don't give a fuck. Like I've always been happy-go-lucky and just gone for stuff because it's kind of whatever. Like I could always go back to. Farming, plumbing, paper round. I don't care. Like, you can always do that. There's no shame in it. So whatever.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
So you grew up in kind of what would you guys call it in the UK? Is it like slummy?
It's like a council estate.
Okay.
Is I think what you call it.
It's
like a really big council estate. So there's a lot of buildings that the council will make. So when you see like those images of England where all those houses are the same,
right,
and stuff. If you've ever seen like Full Monty, that's where I'm from. That's totally where So like all those houses that look the same, the red brick and that, those are council houses.
Got it.
So you'll start out sort of renting them off the government, off the council, and then eventually. Like at one point we bought our council house, and the first thing you do is like paint the top of it. Okay. So you're like, we bought this one.
We own this?
This is not council house. We bought this.
We can paint whatever the fucking color we want. So is that what it is? Yeah. It's like this rebellion. Yeah. We own this bitch now?
Yeah, you'll pebble dash it or something. Put something fancy on, like some pebble dash in, or paint the top. But yeah, it's just like council houses.
Okay.
And then eventually, like my mom and dad worked their way up through, we got out of there, and then we ended up somewhere pretty nice and stuff. So
okay.
Awesome.
But yeah, started out there. But the rest of the clan are all still there. They're all there.
Well, I mean, was it like gangs and drugs and things like that, or just?
I wasn't there till. I mean, I was. It's funny. I probably left real young. Like when I was, like we moved from there probably when I was 7 or something like that. So real young. But all my family is there. All my dad's side and stuff, and my mom's side were all there. So we were really connected. But still, like just those like. First 8 years or whatever, being from the Manatop, just sort of help me out later on. Like,
Sure.
like later on, if we're down in a club and someone's like, "Oh, where you from?" I don't say, "Oh, where do you live?" Or "Where you from?" I don't say I'm up at Norton, Cinderhill Lane. I say I'm from Manitop. And then
It gives you like street cred.
It's just kind of, it's not worth the trouble.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a total wuss.
Right. But you probably have a knife or something.
Just you'd be up for it.
Yeah. Up for it.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's like if somebody wants to shoot the 5.
Shoot. What is it?
Shoot the 5.
Shoot the.
Oh,
Okay.
Go
yeah.
hands.
Just have a go.
I see.
Have a go.
Yeah.
Have a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so because that's one of the biggest things, right? Is most people don't. I feel like a lot of people really want to prove themselves, but when it comes down to it, they're like, okay, well, if you're really that willing, if this guy's willing to do it, do I really want to do it? Or then it makes them make it really question. Because if you're like, oh, I'm from somewhere else, then they're like, oh, he's soft. I don't need to worry about this. But like you said, you have that little
just sort of project a little, and it gets you out of most things. I think.
And I don't want to skip around too much, but I remember the story you told me about you were rolling with one of your buddies who's a bit of a soccer hooligan, but you didn't really know he was a hooligan.
Oh yeah, right.
Tell that one, because that was I think that's a good sort of it would give people a good idea, like the folks you rolled with, like what was going on around there.
This was way later. But
Okay.
This is when I was working in a job, like but you get everybody. Right? I mean, just like here, you get all types, and there's this engineer I was working with called Richard, who was it's just one of those characters, right? Like you just know he's a character, but you just think, he's a cool guy. Totally looked after me like I was a new guy on the job, would show me the ropes and all that stuff. So like just super nice. But we would go out at lunch, and he like knew everybody. Like like he kind of, I'm oblivious to all this shit, but like he just knows loads of people. Like they're all saying hello, and you all look a bit dodgy, and you're like, oh, but he knows like he's running a pawn shop out of work. Like he had this Excel list. This is where you start thinking, oh, maybe he's a bit dodgy. Like he had people, including the owner of the company, coming around, a little bit of exchange. He'd pull up he's an engineer, his programmer.
Okay.
His like database of all his porn movies, and then they'd leave with a plastic bag. But I was like, fair enough, little side gig, whatever, making some extra money. But that should have like cued me, like, this dude's a bit, doing his own thing.
Sure.
Then we go for lunch. We'd always bump into these guys or whatever, and they're always super like gentlemen with each other. All know each other, hugs, and you're like, and then they're starting to know me and stuff. And then we were in a club one time, just come out, and there was some sort of trouble going on between like a kid from Northern Ireland and some drunks or whatever. And a kid from Northern Ireland was with us. He worked with us, so we were just sort of looking out for him.
Sure.
And Rich walks up, just hands in pocket, like not stressed, nothing, like super cool, like there's nothing going on here, and just sort of tactically like backs this guy, just talking to him all nice into a corner, and then just headbutts this guy to death, basically. Like just like, and none of us knew where that was coming. Like this guy's a programmer working on,
right?
Like just never takes his hand out of his pocket, like something like a, for a movie or some like some Death Wish 3 or something. Just like almost killed this guy, we thought, and then just sort of like off we go. I was like, man, what is going on? Turns out he's like totally connected to all these football gang in Sheffield, BBC, like Blades bashing crew.
Oh my
God. But it's like, some serious stuff. And he's like all in with these guys, and all these guys we see on lunch, they've all got these River Island sweaters on with they probably don't do it anymore in the day, but it's like a fashion clothing thing, and they all have this patch on the arm, and I'm like, all these guys are wearing this, like it suddenly dawns on me, like these are all like the Blades bashing crew guys, and there's me like chatting to them all, having a sandwich in the middle of town, saying hello to them in clubs and stuff. So
you were down with the hooligans.
What was the football team?
Sheffield United. Okay. So in Sheffield we got it all, like the Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United. So double trouble, basically. Like, in fact, when I used to go downtown on the bus on a Saturday, I would look out as the bus starts stopping, as you get close to town, you'd look out the window and see if the antennas were on the cars. And if the antennas are missing, you know that they're starting to have like running battles up and down the road because they'd rip the...
And then beat each other with it?
Yeah, and then whip them, you know. Because I don't know if it's like this anymore. I've been away a long time, but, you know, you couldn't play darts on a Saturday because they'd, you know, in the pubs, because they'd take the darts to the football matches and throw them over into the opposing stands and stuff and all this, you know, so it would often spill out on the streets and they'd, you know, run up and down the roads and like whip each other with antennas and all sorts of...
Oh, man.
You thought you were hard bringing your like little scarf to the Sounders game, right?
Yeah.
This is a whole different
you know, it's
deal.
funny, like, so going to the Sounders games, I had a friend of mine, she was dating a guy who was the grounds manager. So to get me in there, I just had to put like beige slacks on and a shirt and I could get on the pitch. Okay. Walk around, pretend I was doing something. Awesome. It was awesome. So like for a bunch of Sounders games, I went down and it was cool. But it's like so polite. You know what I mean? I was like, wait, like this just don't feel right. Like they do it so well. You're like, you know, it's a good atmosphere and all that, but it doesn't feel right. Like, oh man, you know, I remember going to the matches with my dad. Like my dad like never swore or nothing, but I go on his shoulders. We just got this area called the Cop that was like the cheap seats, all standing. It was shaped like a policeman's helmet, so they called it like the Cop. I go on my dad's shoulders, and then as soon as the match started, it was just the things coming out of his mouth were just like insane, you know, like just there's the level of like
it's amazing
sort of care and swear that's in everybody in the stand. It's just a different thing, and I was like, you know, Americans don't get it, whatever. But then I went to an American football match, and I was like, oh, they get it. Like this is they're
just all watching football.
This is the American game where, you know, where it's you know, because then it was like at that level that I expect, you know, kind of at a British soccer game. But I haven't been to one in forever, but it was always crazy.
I was so curious. I actually wanted to ask you about the hooligans because I'm a Sounders season ticket holder. One of the only dreams I have in Europe is to go to football matches. Oh yeah, I could really care less about the history. Like sure, like maybe let's go see some of that stuff, but I want to go. I want to see a Premier League game match. I want to go see one of the a match in Spain and Italy.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Yeah, it'd be amazing. Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That would be fun because I've gone to some Sounders games and I played soccer, but that's sort of the extent. I feel like I've never gotten the full global picture of what it's really about, you know.
They do. I mean, they do such a good job of it here. But I remember actually back in Sheffield, I went to see Sheffield Steelers. That was our ice hockey team. Mm-hmm. I'd never like really seen ice hockey, and I was like, "This is fucking amazing!" Like disco lights to come out. They're all scrapping on the ice. And you're allowed to do it, and you know it's like super fast. And I was like, "Oh, I'm a hockey fan. This is amazing." And that was like my only view of it. And then when I lived in Canada, I saw a real hockey game and I was like, oh, this is what hockey's like. It was like, it felt like it was like 5 times faster and just intensity was just like, you know, cranked up. So yeah, I think if you went to any game really in England or something, it'd be just amazing. I haven't been in one for so long. Like I used to always go with my dad like back in the day and it's just intense and awesome. Man,
it sounds great.
It does sound really fun.
Yeah.
Let's go back, man. Let's go back and go to a footy match.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That'd be super fun. You can come too, Ben. That'd be great. We'll all go.
Yeah. You like how I invite myself?
I know, you're welcome.
We're birthday buddies. So
that's right. You guys.
I gotta come.
Maybe for our birthday, you could, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm paying for it.
Yep.
So is that what happens? All of a sudden I'm paying for it now.
You're at least paying for mine.
I always say if any of us get into a bunch of money, we just give it all to Phil, and he's gonna.
Oh yeah, because I got the plans.
He's got the plans. He's going to plan what we're going to do, and it'll be awesome. So just give all the money to him.
I already told Wayne what my initial plan was for like big win on a lottery would be. This has always been a dream, like a few Winnebagos and then a bunch of custom choppers, and then just a select group of friends. So like maybe 15 choppers, 2 or 3 Winnebagos for family, wives, kids, whatever. and then we just ride south.
Yeah.
And then once we get to the furthest south point, we ship it over to Europe, and we don't know, we
go
figure it out.
Disneyland or something.
Yeah,
See, that's why I can't
thought
do
you were
the
going to say
plan,
just go down till we get to the Bermuda Triangle.
maybe
somehow.
that too.
just
Maybe.
plop light off.
Yeah.
But then we could build in the seeing some football matches and doing some stuff over. Maybe go to your old neighborhood, like a biker gang.
That'd be fun. I took was it last year we went back there? I took the kids and stuff, and I was having a great time, but the kids were like, because I'm looking at like, oh, this has changed. That's cool. It's probably like the stuff you were saying earlier. When you're used to it,
Yeah.
you feel all right around it. But
Yeah.
I think my kids were just crapping themselves. I was going. We went down like Castle. It's funny. Like there's I didn't know any of this stuff when I lived there, but there's a place called Castle Market.
Yeah.
And if you go back, it's where the castle was.
Okay.
And it's just always been rough. Like it used to be when the castle was there. Around it was all the the people who aren't in the castle.
Right.
And then there was and it's basically that area's still kind of messed up.
Yeah.
It's just always going to be like that, And I wouldn't even go down there that much when I was growing up. But as a tourist, I'm like, let's go around Castle Market, and my kids were just
Kids
like,
not feeling it.
Oh, jeez, it's like they don't understand what anyone's saying. The people we know teeth. I was like, that's where the skinheads used to be, like scrapping and stuff, And they're like, can't we go for a vegan meal?
Does your accent get way thicker when you go back?
Yeah.
Does it get-
Well, I think my friends are just giving up on me.
Yeah, because you got this mishmash now, right?
It's a total mess. Actually, when we were in Iceland,
That's right.
that's when I realized just how bad it had got. Because when we were there, no one knew. Like people were
All over the world. We were training jiu-jitsu with like people from every corner of the globe.
a lot of Americans there, a lot of people from Europe
Yep.
and stuff, people from South America,
Yep.
Australians. It was everybody. So they're saying, "Oh, where you from?" and stuff, and no one was like, "Oh, you're from England," and no one was like saying to me, "Oh, you're from England," or "You're from America." They're like, "Where are you from?" Like, and I think in the brain they went, "Oh, you don't sound Australian, you don't sound New Zealand." You must be from like South Africa or something, because people can't figure out that accent or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one. And actually, when we're on that bus, there was a girl sat in front of us, and she was from up north, like Manchester or something, and she had no idea where I was from. So I was like, I'm just like a mongrel at this point. Like
How far is Manchester from where you were?
just an hour or something.
So
like
it's
that.
just north of that.
Yeah, it's like if you went north, there'd be Sheffield, and then if you went west, it'd be Manchester. Then if you went a bit more west, it'd be Liverpool.
Okay.
All the awesome places.
I have not explored that at all. Any of those areas at all. I haven't even been over there.
It's
It's on my list.
that's where all the good music's from.
Yeah.
'Cause there's more struggle.
Yeah. You think so?
Yeah, it's just cool. Like I love it up there. Like Sheffield is, it's kind of like a lot. It reminds me a lot of Seattle. Actually, it's probably why I feel so settled there, because there's a lot of industry and stuff, but it's surrounded by beautiful stuff.
Got it.
Like the countryside around Sheffield is beautiful. There's loads of green parks, but then there's also crisp packets and dog shit and stuff like that. So
Crisp packets, potato chips, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Crisps.
So it's kind of got it all. Like it's I loved growing up there.
Yeah, man.
I think I did. I don't remember. It's easy to say.
It seems
that
like you
now.
did. You always got good stories about it.
I was probably like, I gotta get out of here. But now in hindsight, I'm like, it's awesome.
Yeah, was there an awareness, or was there like that sort of like, whether it was your own attitude or like the attitude of like your peers, like, we just got to get out of here, we got to go explore the rest of the world, or was it pretty common to kind of stay there, grow up there, get married, keep your kids there?
It's pretty common to stay there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it. All my dad's family, all his brothers worked at the slaughterhouse, all very local. In fact, where my nan lived, my Uncle Barry lived in the other house over the road, and my Uncle Roger lived. They're all very local and stuff. So and then my other nan, my mum's mum, lived up the hill this is all local. Everyone worked in Sheffield and stuff.
Okay.
Like when we moved from Arbethorne to this area called Greenall, which is like 20 minutes away, we might as well have moved to Mars. Really.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was very local and also not. I was the first one to go to like college or that I knew of, So it wasn't normal to sort of like, you go to school, then you go to college, and then you have a career. It was more like, you get out of school and start earning some dosh, like doing, some labor or something.
Meet a girl, have a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beauty in that too,
Yeah.
actually. But I was always a bit off with that. Kind of a little bit. I don't know. I was just like, I don't know. And then I always had that. I like to draw, like doing art, but like here, if you say to someone, I'm an artist, they go, what kind of artist? What do you do? You do music?
Yeah.
Like it's possibility, whereas, and maybe it's different, but in my England, it was like, oh yeah? Like, you're going to make money when you're dead? Like, what kind of art do you do?
You're going to live with your parents forever?
It's very pessimistic.
Yeah.
So it was always, I was just doing it because I liked it. There was never, it wasn't
right.
a thing.
Right. For the listeners, I think Cassius may be joining us on the couch. He doesn't like to miss a podcast. We'll see. He might just chill on the floor. I bet he's hot right now.
What kind of hot?
Hot like we're getting some warm weather, and he is not. Yeah. He is not hot like he's gonna have his way with you. Kind of hot, but he could.
He'd probably be all over me like first day of rolling with Phil or something.
Believe me, if he could do it, he would probably.
Totally. I'd love a neck like that.
I know. I measured it. It's like 19 and a half inches. His neck. Yeah. He's got an impressive neck. Well, yeah. Go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say. So I'm interested to. So I already found out that hooligans are as crazy as Green Street Hooligans was fun to watch.
Oh yeah, did I see that? I think I did.
I don't even know what that is. That movie?
Yeah, you should watch it.
Should I watch it?
It's with Charlie, whatever, the guy from Sons of Anarchy.
Oh yeah.
It's one of his first movies. It was the first movie I ever saw him in, and he did a pretty good job.
Okay, yeah, I heard that's good. Yeah, I mean, it's real. It's it's everywhere. Yeah, I left in 96, something like that. So it's been a while. So
yeah.
But back then, and I'm sure it was just everywhere.
Yeah,
and I'm sure it still is now. I mean, you'd check it before you went downtown on a Saturday. Oh, is there a home game? Okay, is it a United game or Wednesday game? If it's United game, I'll go on the other side of town shopping. I'll be a bit careful. I'll stay on the bus a bit longer, just like normal, just to make sure you don't get off there.
You just alter your life a little bit based on what the potential for the violence and the destruction.
I got punched on a bus once, I remember, because I was sat on the top of the bus and I had blue on. Whatever.
And the top of the bus, like it was a double decker one. Okay,
sat on the top, going downtown. It was a bit of a faded memory, but I remember getting punched for sure. Like I know I had blue on, like a blue, not a blue football shirt, but just the color blue.
It's like a nice blue shirt that your mom probably bought you.
I'm on the bus, like at the start of the round, but as I'm coming down past the United ground, which is red, more and more reds getting on this bus, and I'm just getting like anxious, like, oh shit, I look like a Wednesday fan or whatever, and I just remember I got punched on a bus twice actually, but this time was someone who was way too old to be punching a kid,
right? But
they just started picking it up, like, oh yeah, what's up, Wednesday fan, you on the way to Hillsborough and all this stuff, and then it just sort of starts, and I know they're just having a laugh, but on the way out, it's like bang as they're getting off the bus.
That sucks.
Fuck. Stuff like that would happen, like little things that are annoying, or if you program yourself, like stay away from, don't be catching a train after the match is done, because that's usually where the away fans are having to get the train home, and it's just
so they're waiting for the away fans, and then it's
just
this big.
Get savvy to it, or you'll be you know, and the clubs get savvy to it. You know, if it's a football night, they're not letting a bunch of lads in, but they all go in separate.
Right.
Or get girls to go in with them. But you start to know, like, oh, it's about to kick off in here. You can just feel it.
Yeah.
You know, stuff would happen. And then you also get like pubs that are, oh, that's a United pub. That's a Wednesday pub.
Yeah.
So you just sort of, you kind of know how to watch yourself.
That is crazy.
I was in a United pub one time. I think it's called Red Lion or something. My friends will laugh if they see this, but the Bottom Hill, Red Lion, but United pub or something. And we were all in there. And this is like a few years ago, so I'm completely pussified at this point. Like, you know,
America's made you soft. You were there for a visit.
I'm all soft at this point. I'm on a visit. We're all out in this super nice, you know, old English pub or whatever. And then around the corner, you can see there's 2 pool tables. Like, I know they're there and you can just tell, oh, it's going weird. Like, bar staff all go away from the back of the bar. They're not there anymore. And then you can you can't see the pool tables, but you can see the light. The pool tables, the lights above the pool table are obviously swinging around all over the place. And there's like fucking pool balls flying around and yelling. And I just went, you know, we were in a booth over here. So I avoided the whole thing, but you could feel it. Like, there's like there's chaos going off in this room.
Sure.
But what was interesting was straight away, like, all the cops were just there. Like, they were all there and super organized. Like, the cops, and what was a bit dodgy is they locked us all in there, but the cops came super tight, shut it all down, and then had a video camera of everyone leaving the pub. Like, they just...
Interesting.
Like, I don't know, that they got some systems down or something like that. It seems like they don't kind of mess around with that stuff too much, you know? But... Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. Always like scrapping based off football, especially in clubs and that. I used to go to, like, once I got more into like indie music and I got arty farty and that, I was going to more the nerd like underground clubs and stuff where there was sort of less.
Then you guys just hurt each other's feelings.
Yeah. But if you went to more the sort of towny clubs, there's always trouble.
Yeah,
always.
Just part of the culture. It's
just sort of normal.
Violent.
There's one time I was in a pub. Actually, this is when I knew I got super soft. Probably a year in Canada and that. I was like, oh, everything's beautiful. I was in a pub with my sister and my mom, and we were just at the bar talking. There's all sorts of people in there, old people, but it's just like pubs are like coffee shops or something.
Yeah.
You know, in England, it's like community stuff. I'm just talking to my mom and sister there at the stood at the bar. I'm facing the bar, and we're just having a pint or whatever. And I'm like, man, I think there's some trouble about, like, you know, you can feel it again.
You can feel it when shit's gonna pop off.
It's just about to go off behind us, and it goes off, and they're all, you know, guys are scrapping. You fucking, I'm gonna fucking eat you alive, and all this. It's like maybe a glass smash, a bit of a tussle, and I'm like, oh god, it's like I'm gonna die, and I'm looking at my sister and my mom, and they're just not bothered.
Not at all.
They're just carrying on talking, and so that's keeping me like in the pocket, thinking, oh god, I'll just stand here like, you know, and this guy's just scrapping, and my mom and my sister,
and no worries.
Yeah, I think my sister might have gone like, idiots, that kind of thing, but not like oh my god, let's get out of here. Like this is you know, so it's kind of normal.
Amazing.
Normal in certain, depending where you are.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know.
I could go on and on. I got
man.
Like,
well, it's interesting because it's part of the culture, and I think when you're not in that culture, like something like that, you know, like happening in Seattle's nerfed to like every corner, every sharp edge in Seattle has been completely nerfed, right?
Yeah.
Where like besides the new country that just started, but we don't need to talk about that right now.
I was there today.
Oh, were you?
In there?
Yeah.
Interesting. I would love to hear about it, but yeah. In Seattle, it gets serious and get weird, and we just.
But I don't know if it's because, I mean, there's also a big disclaimer on this, right? Like, it seems so. I've not seen that much trouble since I've been in the States, really, but I'm also way less drunk
That's probably fair.
I'm way less drunk, and I go to bed a lot earlier. So it might actually simply be that, But
Well, one of the things. So when I went back to Nevada and I was bouncing at this bar called Buckaroo, or no, next door to Buckaroo's, I bounced at the Envy Ugly. I bounced at the Nevada Ugly right next to Buckaroo's, and so.
Is that a strip joint, Nevada Ugly?
Yeah, no. You would
There's
think
plenty
so.
of strip joints there, though, for
Yeah,
sure.
there's whorehouses there actually.
Oh,
I can't think of a single strip club, but they're like right out of town. There are like 4 or 5 different cat houses and bunny ranch, whatever.
Yeah.
But so, which is funny.
I'm trying to look neutral on this commentary.
because sometimes they would come into our bars. Sometimes they would come into our bars, and those nights all of a sudden it would get packed real quick.
It'd get weird.
But there were fights every night, all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just this little country. It's just a small country town where that's what these dudes love to do.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just
And-
for fun kind of
yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
They like one of my buddies would take off his sandals and so he could fight, and like they'd be standing out in like shattered glass and stuff, and he'd take his sandals off so he could get in
So
a fight.
funny.
Yeah.
And that's just I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times I would just come and separate him, and then they'd go out somewhere else and
Yeah, and carry on.
carry on.
Yeah, it's just stuff would happen all the time,
Yeah.
and but not spoil the night. You would it would happen,
Yeah. And then
and
we would just keep
and then
going.
you sort of carry on. Or
Go
you-
on to
you-
the next place or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like I one time. This is one of the times I went back. I think we were all just sort of at this pub. And that we're way too old to be. We all got kids at this point and stuff.
Right.
But we're just in a pub, or like a pub or club or something, and next minute at bar it just kicks off, and like some guy's got his shirt gets ripped open, all the buttons fly off, and you hear somebody going, Dave, and then I've got 2 drinks and I get knocked back over the table onto the dance floor, but I still got my drink somehow. and then a big fight goes off, and then it dies down, and then you just the only problem is Dave's shirt is open now, and he can't stay in the club if his belly's hanging out.
Yeah, because his nipple will.
Yeah, but the fight thing's
Yeah.
just okay.
So
If
funny.
things got a bit heated, and then it calmed down.
Yeah.
It's sort of, it's not that bad. But I think now though I think it's there's a lot of knives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not some good old fisticuffs back
Yeah,
in the
that's
day.
how it should have been, right?
Yeah.
Some punches, some kicks, and everybody
Yeah.
goes home with a black eye and no big deal.
I've never been in an impressive fight. It's always something
No.
ridiculous, shirts ripped open, button flies off, somebody screams, and you can't remember what happened, and that was it. It's never I go, oh yeah, and step back, and I did a spinning back kick, and that was the end of that, and everybody cheered. They're always drunken, awful, embarrassing,
Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
I've been in one super cool bar fight where it was 10 on 10. And that was fun, but it was kind of scary, but nobody really got hurt except for the one guy. He looked kind of like the Elephant Man. He was on the other side.
Yeah.
He got kind of fucked up because, but nobody really got hurt. And I was sober and the cops came and the whole thing. And we totally got off. It was back in the day when the cops are like, just go home. Make sure your drunk buddy gets home. You go home. I don't want to see you here again.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay. Wouldn't
Yeah.
happen now.
Yeah, right. Probably different.
Yeah. It's different now.
Yeah, most of the stuff that would happen would be sort of getting a bit out of control because there's too much booze, and then
Yeah.
it would sort of fizzle out.
I've never
Usually pretty
seen
fine.
a cop interaction like that.
Yeah.
I wish I could see one of those.
Yeah, that was back in Kirkland, back in the burbs, in the burbs,
in the
man.
burbs.
I got put in back of the van once, actually. Yeah, but it was super funny because I'd just come out of this club called City Hall where we'd do we used to go out fancy dress or whatever,
Yeah.
for 70s night or whatever. So I was in a cowboy outfit with these guns with little which you probably couldn't even get away with that stuff
No,
now.
not now.
Thinking about it, these little revolver things that fired caps.
Little fire. Yeah. Yeah.
Just came out of there having a good time. Probably was pretending I was Woody or something. And and then there were all these guys around like the this like big sculpture downtown, all like, I guess I didn't know, but I think they'd like been scrapping or getting in some trouble, and so I jumped in with them with my cowboy guns and like dancing with them and all this, and then next minute like police van rolls up, doors open, cops come and shove all of us, like all these hooligans plus the cowboy
with the cap guns.
Van, yeah, and then but it was kind of fun because they all started rocking the van, like shouting let the cowboy out and all this stuff, and eventually they just they opened the police van and let me out. They just scooped up the wrong one, so it's easy to recognize him. He's the only one who's in like a
in a costume,
cowboy suit.
So
I can totally picture it.
So now that we've gone off on this tangent,
yeah, what was the question?
I don't know. I think we were just talking about where you grew up, where you came from.
yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah.
So now that we've got a little bit of a bearing on that, so you grew up in Sheffield,
Yeah.
and what was the town?
Oh, it's Sheffield. Sheffield is the city, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and then Arborthorn's like the neighborhood, so it'd
Okay.
be like, Queen Anne, Ballard, whatever.
Yeah, like Seattle, Queen Anne.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, and then so your dad was covered in tattoos,
Yeah.
and he was you said
He was a young
He's a
dad,
butcher.
so he had you kind of early.
Yeah, I think, he was probably 18,
Oh shit.
I think. Well, like, I was 21 when he died,
Yeah.
and he was 43. So,
Okay.
somebody do the math.
I can't.
22
Yeah.
22.
when
Oh.
you were born. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah,
Thanks,
no.
Ben. I couldn't have figured that one out.
Oh, yeah, I think my mom and dad met like 18, 16.
Got
something
it.
like that. I had my sister and then me
Okay.
after that. So, yeah, I mean, pretty young.
And then and so you were saying that your family they kept moving up, and you were getting into nicer areas, yeah.
Yeah.
And then so tell us,
I mean, nice for us.
Nice
Yeah.
for you.
Right.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still, I go back now, and every time I go back, I always drive by the second one, which is really the one I grew up in after we went from Arborthorn and went to Greenall. That house there from, being 6 or 7 to being 16 or whatever it was. Like, that's sort of your house you grow up in.
Yeah.
Looks a bit dodgy when I look at it now, but I love it. Like, it's just such a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that place. So...
Whenever I'm in Lake Tahoe, I drive by the first house I lived in, and it's twice the size that it was. And then I drive to the studio apartment my mom, my brother, and I lived in, and it's
tiny.
It was smaller than this room,
Wow.
for sure.
It
was like half the size of this room.
Shit.
Yeah, when I lived in San Francisco, we lived in this tiny place, and everyone used to come by and go, "Oh, this is awesome! Like, this place is just so," because it was in like a fun area.
Yeah.
And when we left, we stayed there for like 5 or something years. I can't remember, but everyone would go, "I can't believe you live there. It was so small. Like, it was tiny, this place." But
So tell me, I want to understand, because it sounded like you guys moved around. Your parents did sort of that incremental
they just worked their
class.
asses off and got there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents did something kind of similar. My dad did the same thing. I always tell people there was a time, it was during the Reagan era. There was a time when we went from I kind of remember as a kid where we went from kind of lower middle class to like middle class to maybe there was a moment where we were like upper middle class. I remember we got a new car and a new van.
Oh, yeah.
And like my dad built a little barn in the back of the yard.
I don't
so-
think I hit that. No,
Yeah. Well, he passed away soon after that, unfortunately, but it was interesting. Like, I felt like I got to experience a little bit of that.
I'm saying that. I think my dad was always a slaughterman, like 25 years. He just worked his ass off. He just
Yeah.
worked hard. And then he actually, then he lost his job. He got fired from there.
For what?
I can't remember. Something happened and he sort of stood up for people and then he took the hit. He ended up kind of, I think he sued him for unfair dismissal, but it was like a big thing that stressed him out. And then he worked as a moving guy, a furniture guy, delivering furniture. And then he got his like dream job, which was a trash man.
No shit.
Working on the bins. He loved it.
Just driving the truck around, throwing
he was on the back, like
hell yeah.
back of the truck.
I always thought that'd be a good
emptying
gig.
the bins, and and the bins, you put your name down. It's like a 2-year wait list to even, get on that job. So once that's what he was doing up to when he died. But my mom was, the one who sort of climbed up. If there's a ladder, climbed up that most. Like so she was cleaning. When we started out.
Like houses and stuff, or janitor type
schools.
Oh, school. Okay,
whatever. Just doing cleaning work, and then she, she ended up being a exec at companies and stuff like that. So she just sort of
she figured
fearless
it out
with that stuff.
Wow, and that's where you probably get it a little bit, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
because I saw my mum do it.
Yeah.
My mum would just do it over and over again, and in a man's world.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah,
too,
well, that's
right?
what I was going to say. That's a different era, right? Like where you get a woman who's kind of making that ladder climb.
Yeah, I think so. It's probably hard work from my dad.
Yeah,
and graft and give it a go from my mom. I think. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And where did the art thing? When did that happen? Like what? When did Wayne figure out he was an artist, or that's what he wanted to do?
I don't really know. I just don't. I mean, I think a lot of artists say this, but I always just did it.
Yeah, like Drew and
yeah, and it's not like my dad's a slaughterman. My mom's
that's
so
what I'm
it's
wondering.
not like I'm like, oh, Uncle Dave's an artist. I'll try that. Like it was just Roger's off burning cars for insurance and. All the other brothers are, working at Woolley Brothers, and there's nothing there really to sort of say, oh, that's where I got it from. I just sort of did it, and then I think kind of maybe lights started to go off a little bit when I saw things like Star Wars and things like that, and so like, oh, there's like artists working on this stuff because I was never into fine art,
right?
Because that was upper class stuff,
right? To
me, so I was like, I'm not like pulling necks and drinking wine, and that was what fine art to me was. Which now, I'll have a glass of wine, look at some fine art, whatever.
Sure.
But back then, I was like, I can't. I was into it, but I didn't want to do that because I thought it was for rich people and yuppies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but then I saw this you can make art, you can make a living from art. So I think I was curious about it, but I still never, I didn't put it together until I was actually working in art. Like even after leaving art school, my master plan was go on unemployment, keep doing art until I have to, go
get a real job
and do some manual labor and work on the gardens and stuff. I think that was the plan. So I got lucky that I never stopped doing it.
Yeah.
It's like that black belt thing, like a black belt's a white belt and never gave up. Like
right.
An artist is just someone who doesn't stop really. And I just sort of didn't stop. And then I also farted around with video games at the same time. Like I was just into that stuff.
Got it.
And then it like went and just...
It converged.
Somehow, luckily came together, yeah.
So crazy though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the only... And I've been in tech for, it's 25 years now. Yeah. Tech in some capacity and another, mostly sales. But you're the only real, like, true artist that I know who's actually worked on, like, video games and done that stuff. Like, you guys aren't it's not a big contingent, really.
No, well, it's big now. Like, you can go to school for it. But back in the day, it was like... the armpit of art, or like you might as well be working in porn or something because it's for like games. Like it was for, it wasn't like it was weird.
Yeah.
But I kind of got lucky. Like when I used to always mess with games and stuff. And then there was this arcade actually that I used to like to go in, risk my life to go in because it had like Super Harrier or something like that. So there's this place that I got mugged like twice in there.
You kept going
and I still kept going back in. Like I'd look in, like looks like it's all right. I'll make a run for it. Go in there.
Right.
It was in like the bus station. There's this like there's this bus station in Sheffield, and then there's this like I don't know what it is. There's this big concrete ass thing that's a multi-story car park.
Right.
It's just dodgy.
Yeah.
It smells of pee and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you'd walk in through it to get into sort of town. But as you'd pass through, there was one bit with like a bunch of dodgy stuff. But there was an arcade there, that had slot machines and it had some games in the side. So I'd you couldn't go in the slot machine stuff if you were too young, but they'd let you go on the side,
Right.
So,
Well, there was like Asteroids and Defender, the old 2D.
So I would go in there, drop a few coins, play some games, and then got mugged off some skinheads taking your money. They would, I'd be playing the games, and they'd stick their hands in your pocket and just threaten you and take your coins and be like, dang. So then I was like, I got it.
So they'd wait till you were like fully engrossed.
Because you just put 10p in or whatever. You're like, I can't leave my game.
Yeah.
This is my game. Like,
Even though the skinhead
even though you got your hands in my wallet. I was like, so they probably only made like a quid off of me, but it was probably all the money I got. So then I went back in. The next time I went in, I put my money in my socks.
Yeah.
Like,
makes sense.
so I was like, I haven't got any money.
So what's a quid?
Oh, like $1.
Okay.
Like a pound, yeah. Squid, pound, quid.
Okay.
So I put my
A quid and a pound are the same?
Yeah.
Jesus,
As long as it rhymes and you understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So it works.
Okay.
But I think I put my money in my socks. Like I put my change in my socks.
Yeah.
Like, so if they try and mug me,
There's
I think I
nothing to
got
steal.
10p in there. I've only got 10p, mate. Sorry. But they were savvy. They told me that it was kind of funny, actually. They said, do the elephant ears. They made me pull my my pockets out my jeans, I remember. And then they made me jump up and down, and they're like, you're jangling.
Oh,
Took my
no.
money out of my socks. I was like, oh, man. I gotta. There's got to be a better way, right? And then it just so happened I started going downtown on a Saturday. I was pretty young then, but I go downtown on a Saturday when my mum was working.
Yeah.
She started working at shoe shops and stuff. And there's this video game shop, tiny place called Just Micro, that you could go up to the counter and say, "Can I try this?" And they had a bunch of computers, and they'd let you go try the game before you bought it. So I would
Try a bunch of games.
hang out there all day, and then I'd buy like a £1 game, like some shitty game, and I'd stay there all day. I don't know how long I did it, but it was probably every Saturday for years. I probably did this. I went down there and just played all these games, and like would save up, and then every now and again I'd buy a big game, like to justify it. But anyways, that's what I did for a long time. And then I got this interview like years later, blah, blah, blah. I think this connects.
No, this is good.
Years later, I go to this interview. They're looking for an artist downtown in Sheffield at this game company called Gremlin. So like, oh, shit, I'll go for this. Still thinking it's not making games. They must want someone to paint the box covers. So I totally naive about it. And I went down, and it was the entrance to this place was next to Just Micro, and it went upstairs. And the guy who used to work behind the counter at Just Micro was the producer at Gremlin now.
Oh, shit.
And I didn't know, but Gremlin owned this shop. And back in the day, they would, because games used to just be in Ziploc bags with instructions.
Right.
Like way back. So there'd be like proper games.
Like a little floppy disc? Yeah.
Like stuff like that, or a tape.
Okay, a tape, yeah.
And there'd be games in boxes and stuff, but there'd also be like some stuff they were trying out, and Gremlin would try out some of their games, like see what the kids are into, and that would sort of, they'd inform them, the games or whatever. So I go for this interview and didn't know my arse from my elbow, but like I knew like, oh, that's Monty Mole, that's Jet Set Willie, this level like super nerdy, but I knew like all this stuff, and they kept telling me like, you got to sit down. Like I kept standing up in the interview. I was so excited. I could not like sit down, and I knew knew the games. I knew everything about the company, and that's what got me the job. So I ended up working there, and I didn't know, but it was there the whole time,
So the first gig was really like...
I got lucky. Yeah, this is an awesome place.
Well, isn't that funny? We keep hearing this theme when people say, I got lucky, right?
Yeah.
Every podcast we've done, somebody tells their lucky story.
Yeah, right.
You know?
But it's lucky, but it's sort of not lucky because it's like it's taking that opportunity when the things that you've worked so hard at, like, or been interested in.
Sure.
You know, because I did that job. I remember this was my negotiation. I was thinking about this today because I just got a new job, but I went pretty hard on the.
Yeah, as you should.
You know, just trying to figure things out and making sure I'd done my due diligence. But back in the day, they said, "What do you need to start?" And I was like, "I just need to change my t-shirt and have a cup of tea." And I think
good to go.
I think I made on that first job. I think I made $9,000 a year. So I was making more on unemployment before that. But I was just like, "Yes, I got a job." You know, it was my first real job, really.
How old were you at this point?
20, 21.
No
like
shit.
That. Yeah.
I worked so many
21.
shit jobs in my 20s, all physical, never.
Yeah, I never really had a real job. I tried to get them, but I think I was just too weird or something. Like I tried even at one time to get this job at a camping store. I thought surely
they'll hire you.
Camping store, like I don't have to be that smart. And my friend worked there, and he was like, "That guy thought you got crazy eyes." So I ended up, and actually best thing for me, like I ended up working on a farm, and it was just awesome. I got to drive beat up a Land Rover, be outside, shovel shit, make walls, do all that stuff, and I loved it. You know, so it actually worked out. But
so wild.
My mom worked. I think I had the idea. Oh, my mom's really good. Like she's a really good manager and worked in all these shoe shops. So you're like, oh, it's in the blood. I'll be good at that. Nope. You know. She used to work in the shoe shop. For a long time, she worked in shoe shops. And you go in a shoe shop and you run to the back and you come back out.
Yeah, with the
like,
3 different
get
things.
on your knees and like, I don't like to see my mom kneeling in front of.
No kidding.
I don't know why. Like, no reason, but
I get it though.
So I used to, if I was down there after school, I would stand behind my mom, and then when she was like putting the shoes on, dude's feet or whatever, I just look at the dude. I just stare at him like, like young kid trying to like. I think I was probably trying to do some Jedi stuff because I was so into Star Wars. I thought if I stare at him hard enough, his head's probably gonna fly off or something. And eventually, they had. Enough people complained that I had to stand. I couldn't come in the store.
The weird kid can't come in the store.
Yeah, like I think of stuff like, I probably just had the wrong resume or whatever. No, I think I was a bit weird when I think about stuff. Just slightly off.
Just slightly. That's amazing. Yeah, I knew none of this. This is so good. This is what I was hoping to do. I knew he grew up with a bit of a colorful background, but I just had no idea.
It might be how you see it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I think you're weird.
I just, I mean, I'm definitely a bit odd, but you like,
yeah.
If you're interested in people and stuff, you just sort of see it and you see the picture of it.
Yeah.
It's just fun. So
for
sure.
It's fun just to, since this is all fresh to me, I'm just kind of trying to visualize all this stuff. And I totally visualize like the car park where you'd get plugged in and the fact that they made you jump.
Yeah, elephant ears.
Elephant ears.
Like they'd obviously done it enough that they were like it was a thing. There was like I'm supposed to know what elephant ears is. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
They're always one step ahead of you. Those fucking skinheads, man.
Skinheads, yeah.
I know.
My friend Dave always brings it up. Like some skinheads got us in a subway one time, and they pinned me up against the wall, and I just started crying. Just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. And then this old guy came up, World War II veteran, like hunched over, tie, flat cap, badges, and that, and just like gave these guys a good hiding.
Really?
Just wanted,
amazing.
Like stuff like that seemed like it would happen all the time, and then you just get on with your day. Like you just,
Yeah.
Like now it would probably spoil my week. I'd be like, oh my god.
Right.
But you just that's sort of you get on with it.
Yeah. Is it repetition? I was thinking about that the other day. Actually, like I had a good friend of mine. I was having a talk with him about things people say, and especially things people say on social media, and his friend and this is a friend of mine, who's a dear friend of mine, like a mentor. He's in his 60s, and he had these people say some pretty nasty things about him. And his friend said, you have to see it as a ripple and nothing more than a ripple. And if you see it as something more than a ripple, it's narcissistic. And it really like gave me this shift and like how hung up we get on certain things and not being able to get on with it ends up being this like sort of practice of narcissism, right?
Yeah,
so it's
right.
Like, how important are you? How important do you think you are to let this energy continue to ruin your day, your week, your whatever, and not let it go? So I don't know. There's probably some good learning in getting beat up by the skinheads every now and again.
Yeah, you kind of can't play Super Harrier.
Yeah.
In this place, so let's go walk around town and find another place.
Find another
Gotta be
place
somewhere. Yeah.
So that is one of the things where I know we've brought this book up a couple times, but the 4 agreements.
Oh yeah.
That paints a perfect picture of that. There's also another book that I was reading, Why Buddhism is True. And so it's about meditation, and it's about the actual science. So taking like a religious view out of it, but looking at the actual neuroscience and everything that goes along with it. But really it is like how you're saying, actually, no, there was somebody. I'm sorry. I was reminded of this earlier. The end of last week. The guy I was working with, and because we have this electrician that comes and works on the job sites, and they're always giving the rookie crap, right?
Sure.
Those
guys do.
Him a bad time, and he's a super devout. I think he's Catholic, but super devout, super straight laced. Like way straight laced, like, and so they give him a lot of crap, and then it pisses my buddy off, and he's like, man, he's like, he needs to leave, go somewhere else. And I was just like, well, and he was talking about how this other guy is just rude, and I was like, well, I mean, we don't really know everything that's going on with him, right? And we really don't know where that's coming from, right? And he's like, yeah, well, and I was like, he might not even be trying to be mean. He might just be telling him, he just might be giving him the same thing that happened to him. And I started going into like, okay, if we pick this apart, how much does it actually matter? Because I mean, truthfully, the world's a pretty shitty place. And at some point or another, you're going to run into some shitty situations. Yeah. And you're gonna have to go through them. And so, is it the worst thing in the world that this guy is just giving the new guy crap? Yeah. And then but it goes back to just not taking any of that stuff personally, because the kid doesn't seem to matter. He's just kind of quiet, and I don't think
It's like somebody else's white knighting the scenario, right?
Yeah.
There. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And but so I guess that made me think of that, just like what really. If you let it ruin your day, or like how you're saying, like, or your entire week, and how you were saying that goes into like narcissism. Yeah. It really is. That's something that is one of the few things that you can control.
How you respond.
You respond.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And if you let it keep eating away at you,
then
it's just beating you up for longer, and they're having the way with you at that point, right? It's
and if they really did want to hurt you, they actually did, because you haven't let this thing go first. And most people, I feel like, don't really actually want to do that to you, right?
Yeah, I see that in the workplace all the time. Like I usually end up managing a lot of people and artists and stuff. So it's kind of, there's a lot of emotion.
Yeah. Do you find that the artists are a little more delicate, emotionally delicate?
Yeah, I mean, in games, you to simplify it, but you've got artists of all sorts who are certain way inclined generally, and then you've got engineers who are more binary brained and stuff like that. So, and then designers who are producers who are, you got this real mix of different sort of personality types and stuff. So sometimes it's just refreshing to just go hang out with the engineers and be like, man, life seems simpler over here.
Without all this emotion.
Yeah, but I just like with the artists, I just kind of enjoy it. I don't take it personal if somebody, Or even if someone's critiquing your art, right? That's another thing. Like, or your music or whatever, like
or your podcast,
or your podcast, like,
or shit, your jujitsu.
Yeah, you've got to
your lift.
Yeah, I'm always saying to my daughter Lucy, because she does a lot of artwork, and I'm always sort of just pushing her on the mental side of stuff, not like a perspective or any of that, because she's going to eat that stuff up as she goes along.
Right.
But it's more like, hey, are you going to be doing this when no one's looking, when no one's, you're still going to be, do you love it enough? Because if you do, then great, go for it. But if you're doing it for sort of other people's attention or admiration or that, like, it's going to get rough for you when you don't get that. But if you just love it, like if you just enjoy doing it, you get something from it.
Yeah, if that shit just sets you on fire, then
you can't not do it, and then you've got a much better chance,
Yeah.
So you got to keep pushing.
And who's Lucy?
That's my daughter.
Your daughter,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
and how old is Lucy?
She's 16.
Okay.
Yeah, Cooper's 14. So
Cooper's 14, Lucy's 16.
Yeah.
Got it.
So you have two kids.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that though, because I've been feeling that way with all the transitions I've been making in music, and I don't mean to keep bringing this to what's going on with me, but that's the exact the exact thing that I think, like when I found that piano and I brought that piano to my house, all I was thinking was I just want to play the piano.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know if I have the desire to go where I really wanted to before with music anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not thinking in terms of, I need to put out a next album, or I need to make a track for this
or
thing.
I need everybody to love this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the death of you, I think, creatively, when you start thinking that way. Like I noticed with the piano, you're not like saying, "Oh, I should be playing this."
Yes,
it's I want to play it. Right? Yeah. And that's the big difference. Like, I had a little game business at one point, like my own little thing, and like. Before that, there were so many opportunities to do it at a much better time when I didn't have kids. I was young, didn't have a mortgage, and I just sort of never did it. I made some excuses or whatever. It was always the wrong time, wrong play, whatever. And then at one point, I started doing this thing. I got into it. Like I wasn't trying to start a business or trying to make a game or even trying to do a thing. I just started playing with something, and then I couldn't stop doing it. So then that led to sort of making a game and something. But it just sort of taught me that, like, don't go looking for it really. Like, oh, I'm going to start a business and this, that, and the other. Well, not for me. Like, I don't have the discipline for that. It's just like find something that sets you on fire.
Yeah. And
then just fuel it,
Yeah.
So you made a game then?
Yeah.
What kind of game was it?
It's kind of funny. Before I did this game, I was working at Warner Brothers on a big AAA, game, high profile, all this kind of crap. And then I left to do this Facebook game. Like it was a fighting game called Fight Camp, like an MMA game. With these like little characters that you would get stats and they would fight against each other, and just three of us made it, and it was just super fun. It just sort of like it was kind of backwards, like made a game. Oh, you need a company to be able to put the game out, so we better start a company. It just was all totally sort of done backwards, but it was awesome.
That's cool.
It was just for the and that kind of. Like I remember when I realized, like, oh man, I should probably just make the jump and start doing this. Like I was working on the game for The Hobbit, like this high profile game to come out with the Hobbit movie, it's at Warner Brothers. So it was like this big deal, right? And I had to do some presentation for the prototype we were doing or whatever, in front of all the big cheeses and all that. And it's probably at 10 in the morning or something over in Kirkland, and I was about 5 in the morning working on this game that I was working on at home, and I just didn't care about this presentation, and I was like, man, this is not good. Like this is bad for my health, bad for the career, this has got to stop, so I was like, I think I'm committed to this thing.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So I'm kind of curious. So
Sorry, I had to
brought
pee real bad.
So was it work that brought you to Canada and then to?
no, it was my. I came over to the States because my wife, well, now wife, Amy, I met her in England.
But she's American.
And she's from Detroit, yeah. So we met in a nightclub in England, and she was doing like a year study through like DePaul University. It's like Chicago University, and I was just unemployed. Long hair artist, unemployed.
Yeah, you had long hair. I remember you showed me a picture.
Yeah, I probably had like...
We need to post that one, so you got to send that one to me.
Yeah, I probably had... I mean, I don't know how I pulled Amy, but I did, somehow.
No, you look good with long hair. Makes me jealous.
Yeah, maybe I did. I don't know. Give myself more credit, but I don't think so. I think she was drunk. But anyways, I met Amy, and then phone bill got too big, and a year later, I just... Oh, no, a few... I worked at... And then right around the time I met Amy, I got that job at that
Gremlin.
place. Yeah. And okay. I worked there for like 2.5 years, and then I left. I just took a chance. The plan was basically I'm going to go to Chicago. And funny thing is, there wasn't any internet then. I think email had just started. And if I'd known what I knew now, I would have known there's no games industry in Chicago. So this was a bad plan, but I was like, I'll head to. Maybe I didn't know how big America was. So, it doesn't matter if somebody tells you. If you're from England, you don't realize how big it is here.
Yeah.
Like my friend Dave once phoned me up when I lived in San Francisco, and he was like, "Dude, are you okay?" He probably didn't say "dude." He probably said "mate." But he's like, "You okay?" Like with the hurricanes. There was like hurricanes, whatever, in Florida.
Like it was hitting you in Chicago.
Yeah, like a bad one. And I was like, "Are you?" He's like, "Are you okay?" I lived in San Francisco. I'm like, "Yeah, Dave, it's on East Coast. I'm on West Coast." And he's like, "Yeah, you okay?" He's not joking at all, but I think he's just not thinking. Like it's a bit.
It's 3,000 miles.
It's a bit wider than 4 hours wide.
Yeah, it's a giant piece of land. Yeah, for sure.
If like a Florida-size hurricane comes over England, it's like all gone, But yeah, I don't know what was going through my head, but the plan was, I'm gonna go figure it out.
Nice.
No visa, no nothing, no job, just like I'll land there with my bag. But I got lucky. This is luck, I think. Like I
don't buy it. But let's hear it.
The game we made at Gremlin did really well. Like there was a real small core team of us. That like I was, me doing the art, a few engineers and stuff like that. Maybe an animator and stuff like that. A real small team, but we made this soccer game that beat EA, like FIFA and that at the time. I mean, it just in England it was huge as #1, all this stuff. So we'd, a little ragtag band of us really had made this game that just did really well. And then we made another one, and then I'd already got my ticket to go to England, and then I think it's like a week before I left, something like that. Like I was already ready to go, finishing up at Gremlin. There was one phone, nobody had cell phones, anything. Right back then, there was like one phone in the center of the room. Someone says, "Hey Wayne, it's your mom on phone. She can't set the video or whatever." And I go on, and it's this guy who says, "It's David here. Would you, have you ever thought about working in North America?" It's like funny voice. I think it's my mate Dave. Everyone's got that mate. Mine's Dave.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh yeah, fuck it." I'm swearing. I'm like thinking it's Dave. Like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, "This isn't Dave." And it was this Canadian guy called Kevin Hare. I thought he was saying it's Kevin here. And he's totally serious. He's like, "Have you thought about working in North America?" And I was like, "I'm gonna be there in a week." And it was EA Canada. What they tried to do was buy us out because we'd made this game that kicked their ass, and because they couldn't buy us out, they tried to seek us out. So I was like, I'll go. You know? And
So they were poaching you
they were
guys.
poaching us, yeah. So I flew to Chicago, got my, I sent my portfolio a different way because I thought I'll get done at customs or something. Fixed up my portfolio. They flew me out there, which I thought was crazy because I was used to, in England, if you get, like everyone's fighting for the jobs or whatever, no one's going to pay for your bus to go there.
Right,
Like
you gotta cover it.
I'm very working class still, right?
Yeah.
Like I just happened to land this job, and they flew me to Vancouver, put me up in like the Landmark Hotel, that big.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? And I, went to Vancouver and I interviewed there, and it's funny, they wanted to offer me a job, and I was like, I can't make a decision without talking to my girlfriend, Amy. So they flew her out, gave us a car and a place to rent. And when we left, I remember they gave me a gift and they gave Amy like a bouquet of flowers in the elevator. It was crazy. Like they totally, just.
They wanted you.
Oh, this is funny too. So the guy who ran EA at the time, Warren, I can't remember his name, but I ended up renting the attic from his house. So I got to know him a little bit. Kind of, he lived downstairs. I rented his attic room and stuff. And so he told me later the story from his perspective. But, I'm used to like bricks, mortar, chimneys, crisp packets, dog shit, skinheads, that kind of stuff, and then, good times on a Saturday, that's the sort of my world, and some holidays. And I'm sat in this office in Vancouver at EA with like glass windows and the mountains in the background. So I'm just like thinking, I'm like, oh God, like it's negotiation time. Like I'll try and get him for like 17 grand or something. I don't know what the number was, but it was not whatever I should have been saying, and because I'm probably making 10 grand in England. I've not even done the math or like the currency,
the conversion
stuff, right?
yeah.
And he said to me, I can't remember what the number was, but let's say he said 50 grand or whatever, and I was like I was rich, like I just won the lottery. That was, like he might as well have said $1 million to me. And I guess my face looked so angry, is what he told me, that then he said, and we'll throw in a signing bonus of blah blah blah. Like so, he said from his perspective, I'd been there for 3 days, and then they'd lowballed me or whatever, and but I was just like, I cut my leg off to work here,
right?
So then
and then your oh shit face, he thought was the hard negotiation face.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So I ended up working there. It was funny. They did gave us a removal truck to move all your stuff. We're like, we don't have any stuff, and it was funny. But they said you kind of have to do it. It's part of their package or whatever. So
your relocation package. Yeah.
So when this 18-wheeler truck pulled up, it opened up and there was nothing in it. But all the way at the back was just basically this yellow couch that me and Amy had bought from a Salvation Army. Totally cool. And it's at my boss's house. Like he's there, oh, you're moving in, and there's just a yellow couch basically. So that's how it started for us. Yeah, just sort of made that jump, and
man,
crazy.
So that it's so fascinating to me because FIFA is my favorite game.
Yeah, well then I worked on FIFA.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah. So I have still to this day. It was the only reason I bought a TV last year.
Oh, for FIFA.
And I was like, oh, yeah, there's a new FIFA out. I haven't played it. I played the Maddens too, but not the way I play FIFA.
I'm probably just ready to start playing it again. Yeah, I haven't worked because I did like 2 or 3 at Gremlin, and I did 2 at EA, and I was like,
yeah,
I'm done. But now I'd probably love to play it. It's such a great game. It's so well done.
Like, it's probably going to be the only reason I buy another TV.
Yeah,
I sold that TV, but
yeah, it was sort of such a huge jump. Not in the way they did it, because in a way we were better at Gremlin because we were
So tight knit.
We were tight. We
Yeah.
knew what football was. That producer there was like, just knew football like properly, you know. And it was a bit like, a lot of people would, you know, be like, if I was making an ice hockey game, like I'd get it, but I wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
And it was also really big. Now it's like super tight, you know, I'm sure, but especially since I actually designed a soccer game in England for America, and it was when the MLS was first starting.
Okay.
So it's all these crazy logos like New York Taxis or whatever, all these teams. I was like, what the heck? This is weird. Like, because I was used to all the kind of old
The
school ones with
shields
some
and
history and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So there's a bit of that, but then there was just some like, what the heck is this? This is kind of cool. But I put all the thing together, and then they pitched it, and they were like, yeah, nobody cares about football in America. Yeah, that was the thing. Even though FIFA, because I think FIFA was much bigger maybe in Europe at the time, but you know, now it's still the gift that keeps on giving. It's a huge game. And,
Crazy. I brought you another Guinness, by the way.
oh, thanks.
You don't have to drink the whole thing, but you might as well get into it.
Yeah, so it was fun to work on that, and actually it wasn't fun. I hated it. The year not working on FIFA, but just being in a big. I wasn't ready for it. I was so raw, like off the boat. Because at EA we were at Gremlin, it was just, you know, it felt working class, and it was you know, people just sort of maybe self-taught and stuff like that. So I don't know, it just seemed like if we were critiquing things, it was just, you just say it and you get
Just
on with
grassroots.
it. I don't know, yeah.
It wasn't a bunch of politically correct bullshit.
It felt like that, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
maybe just might be my memory, but that's how I remembered it. And then I know when I got to EA, I just thought that was how it was done. So when we would critique things, I would be like, I'd just sort of say it like it was, and find myself in HR or whatever. Like it took me a while to figure all that stuff out.
You were hurting a lot of feelings, but you have the
Yes.
nice accent, so I think that probably helps you not seem like such a dick, even though you were being a dick. Maybe
That was like my get out of jail.
Yeah,
card.
you're
I'd be like,
that.
no, that's not what I meant. That's meant with affection in England. Sorry, you misunderstood. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
God, I got to get out of here before I get fired.
Wayne's now. You would think that he's never opened a can of Guinness in his life.
Oh my God.
But no, he's got it figured out now.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore. It's going to get crazy.
Whew.
Going home in a body bag.
I love it. You got to go home. You got to go home the long way.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So, I mean, are you able to talk about your most recent transition that happened or that's happening right now?
Work-wise?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. I'm super stoked about it, actually. I can't remember last time I was this excited about a job. Probably because I've been at my current place for 8 years, which is the longest I've been anywhere.
And what's that place?
It's Big Fish. It's a bit like mobile games and stuff.
Okay.
And
Jessica actually upstairs used to work there too. That's how
it's kinda,
small world.
To be honest, I think if I'd not been doing jiu-jitsu, I probably wouldn't have been there as long as I have. If I'm going to be really honest, like Big Fish was awesome. Like when I first started there, it was like super creative. They had not really got it together on the process, which meant it was like kind of Wild West. So I was there for new concepts, and I could just do
Whatever.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. But then it kind of, mobile games was the Wild West too, but now it's not. It's like big money and blah blah blah, and it's just like, man.
And is that I'm so green with this. Is that like I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but the mobile games like Farmville, like those casual,
All that stuff.
Okay,
pool
got it.
games, anything that's on
the
your
bullshit
phone,
sort of thoughtless.
There's everything. There's like awesome games, and
Okay.
there's the worst games you've ever seen. Like,
I see.
It's just it's open season, right? But the other thing that was really, like, games industry is pretty hard, like on your hours and stuff. Like the most sort of bonus money that I've earned in games came from like a class action lawsuit from when I was working at Sony for unsociable hours.
Oh shit!
And it was crazy. Like we would have scheduled meetings at 2 a.m. and stuff. Like it was bonkers. Like we were just working,
And nobody was apologetic about it.
no, it was just that was the culture in games in console games and stuff back then.
I see.
It was really high pressure, long hours.
What's your favorite game that you were a part of?
Ooh, good question.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. The things that came to mind though were probably the first game.
The one at Gremlin, the soccer game.
Because it's always like it's like your first love a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the learning curve is just like when I got there, I had to ask the guy next to me, how do I turn my machine off? I didn't know anything, you know, like so it's just the learning curve was crazy.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. There's been a lot of like good ones, and it's sort of less the game and more the, you know, like when I first got to work on something that wasn't soccer, you know, so I got to work on like Castlevania and like monsters and stuff like that.
I remember
was, like,
Castlevania.
Like a Japanese company, Konami, that was kind of crazy, but very Japanese, and none of us knew what the heck was going on. But
I played a lot of Konami games.
Yeah, but like to work on that game was like, oh, this is cool. I'm doing like, you know, mummies exploding and, you know, hell dogs and stuff like this. And then when I went to Sony, it was like a different thing. Like, you know, I worked on like a Hong Kong action game with Jet Li, which was cool. But also like a cutesy platformer game, so they were really cool. But it was more the like I phoned my mom and was like, Mom, I think I made it, because I had an office that had like marker pens and a drawing board, and I was like, I've seen pictures of things like this. and they called me like a character lead, or you know, I was still sort of even like pretty getting deep into it at that point, but I was still sort of starry-eyed, like, when is someone gonna
realize that you're
tap me
just
on the shoulder and say like, get out of here, dude, like you're
an imposter.
Yeah,
you faked your way into this.
But I probably one of my favorite, I don't know, like I worked on this open world game, never shipped, but it was just full of everything you could ever do in development, like drama, bankruptcy, hard problems, massive game, wrong game engine, growth, you know, team growth.
Yeah.
First time really art directing and making every mistake you could possibly imagine. So, like, that was a huge sort of. I guess I'm thinking more of the learning curves, I guess, is the pattern.
Yeah.
Like that's the games are always fun. Like I've just been doing like a interactive romantic narrative game. Like not interested at all, but it's fun to make it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's sort of, but you know, this new place they make this game called State of Decay. It's like an open world zombie game. I don't know how they did it. Like the first game they, this game I was making called Vegas, this open world game, was a huge game, massive team, and didn't make it. You know, like it got cancelled, went through troubles or whatever. And then this team made an open world zombie game, and there were only like 20-something people. I think, I'm not sure, but it was a low number, and they did it somehow. This startup did this game, and now they're on.
I feel like I've heard of that game.
Yeah, they'd made State of Decay 2, and now they're making some new stuff. And a couple of years ago, there's like a bunch of really savvy people who you know, a lot of veterans, a lot of talent, a lot of passion and heart, and they're into what they're making. And that's sort of what I was looking for, like something that felt authentic. And in this, it's been really interesting because I've been interviewing, right? I've been selling myself, but all the interviews are the same because they're on Zoom.
Yeah.
I go down in my basement like 2 minutes before the interview, and all these heads pop up on these screens, and there's sort of no advantage to the companies because you don't get to experience like the lobby or any
walk through the kitchen or see there.
If any of that stuff works, and you're not seeing it, so it's literally like down to like the people and what they say and how real they feel and stuff like that. And I interviewed with a few different places, and I just liked everybody, you know. And on this thing, I was like, man, I feel like this feels like the right place, and the game they're doing is super cool, and they're into it. So I was like, definitely, if this can work out, and it worked out. And then it's Pioneer Square, can get to Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, I was in a bit of danger for a while because we hadn't trained for so long with this COVID stuff. And I was like, there is life without Jiu Jitsu.
I know, but it's not as good.
And you have to, because I interviewed one time on the East Side for this awesome job. This is like a few years ago.
Yeah.
East Side, and I was like, I'm not working East Side. Like, screw that, commute, and can't make it to Jiu Jitsu. But I went over, and it was awesome. It was like working on this engine, new technology, all this stuff, like cutting edge. And I'm thinking, this is worth the drive. I can do this. And it was like 4:00 or something. I was leaving, and I was going to come to SEMA to train.
Right.
And by 5:00, still in traffic, I was like, oh, hell no.
Dude.
Like, I might not even make it for this 6:00 class. I was like, I'm never. And by the time when I was in the office, I was like, giving it all the, like, I can do this. I think this is great. Sounds like a great fit. And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm doing it. By the time I got home, I was like, it's not going to work out.
Yeah. I wonder, is it, I was thinking about this the other day. Is that a maturity thing, or is it a lack of tolerance? Like, I feel like my tolerance has dropped for that kind of bullshit. Like,
it's kind of both. Yeah. Like, it was also, I mean, it just so happens with this new place, Undead Labs, I think it's awesome. Like, of all the places that I interviewed, I'm just so happy that they gave me a job, because I'm like, this feels perfect to me. Like, they seem like they've still got that indie spirit, but they got bought out a few years ago by Microsoft. So the professional side of me is like, okay, they've got the backing, but they've got the heart. So this could be perfect, But my, I think back in the day, I'd be more like, I gotta work for, think of the bigger names. Like, I need to be over at the Microsoft headquarters, or maybe I need to be at Bungie or these bigger ones. And I just don't care about that anymore. Like, I want to be with, like, and I realized that when I was looking for stuff, I was just looking for stuff that I thought I was going to enjoy, and that I could actually fit, like, have value, kind of thing. I didn't want the bigger thing, and I think that started probably definitely before Jiu-Jitsu, like when I was at Warner Brothers and I left to do this Facebook game and start my own thing. And through doing that process, I kind of found, this is what really makes me tick. Because I was lost. Like, when I worked at Warner Brothers, I'd been doing other games for other people for so long, I just didn't know what I was into as an artist anymore. And the way I sort of figured it out is I went down on my bookshelf one time. I got a bookshelf with my art books, arty-farty stuff down in the basement, and I look at it and I'm like, I'm working on Lord of the Rings at the time, and Lord of the Rings is down in the corner. I'm working on the Hobbit at the time. I haven't even read the book. Like, I'm the art directing the game, the movie, and I can't even get through the book. That's how much I'm not into it. Wow. And I actually, luckily we were making the game on the first half of the book, so I managed to get through half of it. But I was like, man, I'm not into this right now. and I watched the YouTube video of the 1970s cartoon. The cartoon. Hobbit, and I made a lot of my decisions off of that. So I was like, this is not good. And I just and I didn't care about being director of art or any of that stuff. I don't care. Like, I like doing the thing. Yeah. I'd rather not have any of that stuff as long as I can get in there and do it. But then you put on top of that, sort of, when I start working at Big Fish and they're really great work-life balance and stuff, and I get to get back into martial arts and stuff, and be like, okay, now hit another level. Like, hey, feels good to be healthy and to scrap, and like, oh shit, I can learn new stuff. Like, I'm not baked and done. I can learn stuff. I can, like the stuff you tell me, like, hey, have you tried doing this? You might sleep better. I'll try it. Oh, I sleep better. Like, if you do this, if you want to be able to touch your toes, you need a flex. I can't touch my toes. It's because I'm not trying, like. So just like you start to these stupid things, but I was learning to relearn.
Yeah.
By doing jiu-jitsu actually, and and then I think that all comes together when I start looking for new stuff, because I'm like I kind of know where my ego's at and what I need to feel okay and what I want to do, and then I also know what's important. Like I want to get home for the kids for dinner, and I want to be involved with them, and I want to go to jiu-jitsu and get beat up. Yeah, it's like super important.
Yeah.
So
well, you do a little bit of beating up yourself, so don't. It's not all just Wayne getting beat up.
Yeah, I try to get people on their off days.
He's a beast.
So yeah, I think it's a maturity thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's funny because I've been on the road for the last 3 years doing between sales and sales management all day long, and after this house we just bought in Tacoma is my commute today. I left. I was like, oh man, I was doing school this morning, lost track of time, and I was leaving late. I left at 6:50. I was in the shop at 7:02, and I had to go through the Tacoma Dome traffic that's there every day, every of the year.
Yeah.
So, and it still took me like 10, 12 minutes to get to work.
Oh, but before you were doing that from Capitol Hill or something like that? Or
no. Before I was I would go I would just go to customers' houses and
he'd just come over to your house and like bid jobs, but they would send him all the fuck over the place.
I see.
So just so much time on the road, and this is a terrible place, even anytime during the day.
Yeah, just to try and get around.
Sucks.
I would literally go from Olympia to what is it? Is it Blaine?
You were going that far north?
I would go like right outside of Canada, all the way down
Linden and all that.
Yeah, Linden,
Yeah.
down to Olympia, out to Port Angeles.
See, that's I when I got lucky when I came up here because my jobs were always sort of like a Fremont or downtown, but there was a period where I had to go east side, and I'd forgot because when I lived in California, it was always commuting, right?
Yeah.
But I was sort of younger and more up for it, I guess, or less crusty. But when I had to go east side and I would drive back and I'd get stuck in traffic, I started. I'd be like, why is everybody in these metal cars and like having these like stupid thoughts? Like, what are we all doing? Why are we here? Like, it's just not.
You
good
get
for
real
me.
nihilistic really quick, right? Like, and then you start questioning everything. What really matters?
This is so weird. Look at all these indicators. Like, I have all these like, why are all these indicators flying? Why are they red? Like, why did that happen? Why are they not blue? Like, I start like my brain just spins out, and it's just not good for me.
No, I'm with you. The commute. I mean, well, now that the West Seattle Bridge is broken, but even when the bridge was working, going to South Lake Union, for a year and a half, I was going to the office every day, which was, I mean, I tried the bus, I tried the fucking water taxi, I Ubered, I drove. Like, I tried to find. There's got to be a combo or something that would make it easier on me. Always 50 minutes.
Yeah.
7.5 miles, 50 minutes, because I couldn't leave at 6 a.m. because I'm training with you fuckers, and it's so important to me to do jiu-jitsu that there's no way I'm going to go to bed at 9 o'clock so I can get up at 5 o'clock so I can go to work and not deal with traffic.
Right.
It's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
So I train late at night with you guys, but then I was putting myself in traffic, and it was just fucking brutal, man.
It grinds you down, doesn't it? Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
So you're getting ready to start this new gig. After
New
you
gig,
take a
which
few
sounds
weeks off.
dope.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually, I haven't been that. It's sort of, it's funny, like not having, what I realized, and this is part of the like caged animal COVID period that we're all in.
Yeah.
How much, because I think it's probably ran its course a while ago, like my job, but the fact, being able to have like not the best day, but then like, time for peanuts and banana, and then in 15 minutes off to the gym, do a lesson, meet my friends, fight for an hour or two.
Yep. More like 3 usually.
Or 3, like, and then all good, like feel amazing.
Yep.
And then if the next day at work's not that good, it's okay because I'm just so happy to sit down and not move because
Yeah.
I'm aching from Phil like beating me up, and then
From smashing.
and then the next day do it all again. So I that sort of kept me going longer than I should have been. But in not having that, I've sort of taken away. I'm the same person I was like back in the day. Really, like if you look at me when I was 14, it was like artwork, martial arts, riding a bike and doing
Yeah.
skids. Playing video games, and I'm the same now. But you take away the, martial arts side, then it's just I'm riding my bike with Cooper, my son doing skids, and then it's like artwork, and then you realize like, wait, this side's not.
You need to feed that side.
Yeah, I need to feed that side a lot, and I really love it, and it's still really meaningful to me as our games, and I'm just like, man, that side of what I'm doing all that time in the day was not like to its full kind of, not tweaked to its full potential kind of thing.
Dude, I
so
totally
I was like,
agree.
okay, I gotta, if I could ramp that up to where it is, and I can do jiu-jitsu when the world comes back online again, it's just gonna, it's gonna be amazing.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah. Agreed.
So
You got a legacy in mind? You got anything like? I feel like we've been on the Wayne journey, which has been fun. But I mean, is there an end goal now? I have my sense and kind of my summary of where you're going, but I
might need you to tell me, 'cause I truly have no idea. Like I don't know if I ever really. Yeah, honestly, I never really thought that way. It's very long term.
Yeah.
Especially with this is some art math, but my dad died. My granddad died. My dad's dad died at 53, and my dad died at 43. So I'm like, oh, I'm done at 33, right? Because it's going down in tens, and
totally.
And once you get that in your brain a bit, when you're younger, it's stupid, but it's in your brain, so you sort of think that way.
Yep.
And so I never really thought that long term. I just tried to sort of
It's funny.
just roll from one thing to not in like a super negligent way or whatever.
No,
but
not
just
like
kinda
haphazard, but
not thinking too far ahead. And then actually, when you start thinking,
it's a nicotine toothpick. If you
I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks. Think in terms of your kids, where you're like, oh wait, 10 years, 20 years, like and then think in terms of like jiu-jitsu, like, oh man, if I want my black belt, it's going to take me like 15 years. I better start.
Totally.
Like I really like this. I better start eating well and looking after myself. And then you think like, oh, okay. You start thinking in terms of like, oh, what am I going to do when I'm, 45, 55? So that my I don't know if I have any legacy things, but I think in more long term these days about like looking after my health and eating better, and if I have any spare moments, I kind of put them into the kids really, and just sort of like make sure they're set up and I got a good head on them.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're doing things that that feed you in lots of different ways, right? You're kind of experiencing the creative thing again. You got this rebirth of your creativity with this new gig.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah, I know. It could be a real shit show, right? They could have sold you hard. Well, can you imagine? Like they have all these fake backgrounds in the Zoom meeting. You come in and it's just some dirty ass like false ceiling.
Yeah, I haven't seen the place.
7 foot high shitty ceilings and fluorescent light.
Yeah,
whatever. I think it'll be cool though.
Yeah, everybody seemed cool. So
sounds like a good gig.
Yeah,
and then you have the kids, which I think we've talked about this a little bit. We were doing a very inconsistent kind of jiu-jitsu group meetup on Zoom, or Chime or whatever. And I think there was some unexpected benefits of the COVID thing. Like you riding your bike with your boy Cooper, and you guys are like buddies, Not that you weren't before, but he's
we've always been real close. But now it's awesome. Like if you he's 14 and he can track around now. Like it used to be back in the day, like if you were running on the sidewalk, you're like, you can't beat me, and you let him kind of run up next to you and then you take off, or you let him win. Now I'm like, holy shit, I can't keep up with this guy. Like he's out on his bike and I get to go out with him. We do we gonna do or doing jumps, doing skids, and just wrecking around the neighborhood. And it feels like I'm 14 again for me. Like
It's so good for you, though.
It kind of fills you up, yeah. So it's fun. And then, Lucy's I got lucky.
Yeah.
Kids, though,
you say that a lot, but I think you
but
lined yourself up pretty good.
I don't know. Like I hear all these horror stories, and I keep waiting for it. But I can hang out with my kids. So.
Yeah, that's cool. And yeah, she's exploring her art. Didn't she say she's doing like stand-up comedy and?
Yeah, it's like, Cooper plays drums, saxophone, keyboards.
And he's also doing some production work, right? Electronic music.
Yeah, he's getting in production work. He's got like the drum machines and stuff. He's really good at that stuff. Lucy sings, does stand-up comedy, does artwork. She acts in theater. It's ridiculous. Like she this is when I knew, like, okay, I got to make sure not to hold the kids back. Let them know how I feel completely. Because she did she did a comic one time, a little comic that got put in an anthology, a book of all the city schools. She got chosen for it and put in it. And then they did they invited all the kids to go up on stage and read at Benaroyal Hall. It's like this big deal.
Oh, I remember that.
So I'm like freaking out, like, because I don't like talking in front of anybody on stage. So I'm like hyperventilating a little bit, and the kids are going up, and they some of it was written stuff, some of it was comics, like what Lucy's done, and she'd got like a Twitter account or something. I can't remember what it was, or Instagram, and she wanted to let everybody know about it. But the way they did it was like you have to come on, say your name, and get off. So every kid that went up did that because they had a ton of them to go through. And Lucy was saying, "Oh well, when I'm not going to have time to do that. I'll have to wait until the applause is done. Like they go up, say the name, read the thing. As everyone's clapping, you're supposed to go off."
But she was just going to wait it out.
Yeah, and I was thinking, you can't wait up there. Like you can't do that. Like and I'm like thinking, I don't think this is going to work. She can't do that. And she just goes up there, stands there. Everyone's clapping, and I'm like, you got to get off of there. Like, get off the stage. And she just stands up there, waits for everyone to stop clapping. And then she's like, you can check me out on my Twitter account at blah, blah. And just totally just
nailed it.
Puts it out there. And I was like, wow, she's like next level. Like I would never have done that. One, I would never have done the comic in the first place. Two, I would have found a reason to not show up for this thing where I have to talk on stage. Three, I definitely wouldn't have self-promoted myself when I was up there. Yeah. And she just does it, So it's awesome. Crazy.
It's amazing. Love it.
Yeah.
Anything else, Ben? What do you got? Oh, you got to also. Your wife's also in a band though too, right? Like she's music.
Yeah.
Like your wife plays what? Guitar?
She teaches piano. She plays guitar, plays piano, and sings.
Jesus.
It's awful being me actually, because I can't do any of that stuff.
The Laybourn family is just.
I can't do. I just sort of.
You draw. You doodle.
I'm not in West Seattle. I've been wanting somebody to teach me how to play piano.
Oh yeah, it's tough to. Yeah.
Well, classically, I can play a whole lot, but
yeah, just play off of like you feel and
ear.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But
I got none of that.
See, I woke up to the piano thinking, I can do it. I feel it.
And then you try.
If I just stop thinking, it's gonna come out, and it fucking doesn't work.
No, man,
it doesn't come out.
Me neither.
Yeah,
me neither. Well, anything else, Wayne? Before we put an exclamation point on this thing. Anything else? Anything else you want to say? Want to leave us with?
No, I feel like I should apologize for the last hour or however. How long has it been?
No problem.
2 hours.
Has it been 2 hours?
2 hours. It flies, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
No, it was great.
It was great. I do have a question actually, because you're in an interesting world from a work standpoint. If you had sort of advice for kids coming up who, kids are fucking crazy for video games now, and there's a whole industry around it. What would you recommend? Like a kid, high schooler or somebody in junior high who had some talent, who was really interested in getting into the business?
Yeah, start
drawing.
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
start before you go to college.
Okay.
And then hopefully you don't have to go to college.
Nice.
That's what I would say. Like these, we would have kids groups and stuff come by, and you know, real young sometimes, and I'm like, start now. Like you can, you know, I mean, they're super bright, all these kids.
Sure.
And, you know, you can get all the game engines for free. You go YouTube. You can learn anything. You can learn everything.
They have time.
You've got time. Yeah. You don't have a girlfriend yet.
Yeah.
Like, or boyfriend yet. You can start. You don't, you know, you still let your mom or dad's, maybe like, now's the time. Like, do all that stuff before. Because I kind of feel like because I went through art school and that is not the thing that got me my jobs.
Right.
It was because I was always doing it and obsessing before that, and it was all the interesting games I had before that. That's what got me in there and stuff. And the amount of times like I talk to folks and they're like, what classes do I need to take? What school do I need to go to be this? And how much will I get paid? And I'm like, you're not going to make it. You know, like those are all
the wrong reasons.
Yeah, because the person who, especially in art, like if you're not obsessed by it, it's not really talent, it's obsession. If you're not obsessed by it, somebody else is. You know, so if you can't help yourself and you're interested, you're gonna download the engines, get the free programs, get your pencil, start working. I mean, just do it now. And the amount of times I actually talk to adults, even like someone will be like, "Hey Wayne, how do I do this? Can I have a coffee with you? Can we meet up?" Like, you know, they think if they talk to the art director, they'll get in there, and there's no silver bullet. You got to do the work.
Yeah.
So once they hear that, they're like, "I'll just fuck it." I didn't want it that.
I mean,
much.
it's too risky, right? You talk to an adult who, you know, without having that passion and that obsession for years and years, that's a big risk for them to.
Yeah, you have to, and then even, you know, I'm 47 now. I'm probably. I'm weighing, you know, and I'm still like, just last week I was pulling up videos on tutorial sites to learn some anatomy and try and improve and learn this thing. And, you know, if you don't do that, if you don't have that curiosity, it's not going to last, or you'll work up to a point where you've got something that somebody wants for a while. And then it's done. If you settle on that, it degrades. Yeah. And then you're that sort of person who has been. So you just have to, you know, find the thing you love, and if you don't love it, if you don't care enough to love it or to be doing it in your spare time, or then you probably don't love it enough. And especially when it's a competitive field like, you know, music or art or stuff like that, like. Just
like you said to your daughter, if you do this when no one's looking, then you know you're on the right path, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, if you're doing it when no one's looking, if you're when someone comes along and laughs at you or says it sucks or that kind of stuff, if you still do it, you probably, you know, it's like Jiu Jitsu. Yeah, like it kind of sucks.
It kind of sucks,
you know. And so if you don't love it, like there's no like, you're not coming in the door and they're like, "Hey Wayne, here's your black belt."
Yeah. No, it's more bad days than good days, for sure.
It's more bad days, and if you don't like love that bit, like I think all our crew does,
yeah, for sure.
Then you just don't do it for the glory, because there's none.
There's none.
You have them, but it's
few and far between.
Yeah, and I think you'll not hit the glory unless you're obsessed and loving it. I mean, it's got to be the same with music, and
for sure.
And there's dark times there's times when I would love to like not be thinking creatively. It's like, can I just like get a break from this? Because it's torture. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, it's not all fun. Like it's.
I think people assume the creative types, it's always fun. Like it's just.
No, it's horrible. It's torture. Like you just like, can I just like finish my day's work and go out and like have nothing on my mind? Or can I get up in the morning and be guilt-free and not think I need to create something? Or, you know, it's great, you know, because when you have like, it's always there, you know, so if you have sort of a rough time, you can turn it in, you can do something with it. If you have a good time, you can do some with it, so it's great. But it's also like, man, can I just get a break?
Wow.
Can I just like get rid of this need to create something? 'Cause,
That's an interesting perspective.
yeah.
A robot like me, I don't have that.
Like there's times or like when I'm talking sort of some more maybe binary type people or something. I'm like, oh, that'd be great, a thing like that, because my brain, if you've not noticed, it just spins off into space.
Love it. Dude, I think we wrap it. That was great, man. What do you think?
I hope I never see it. That's what
I'm going to put it everywhere.
speech impediments and swear words and stories that don't
Hooligans
connect is what
and-
I imagine.
Right on. Ben, you going to cue the outro?
Yep. And it's going to start any second.
All right. Well, Wayne, thanks for coming through.
Thanks.